So the last video I made was all about me leaving education. And this one is all about how I did it. Y'all ready to walk? Let's go. All right, what's up everybody? My name is Graylin and welcome to EDU to PMP. I am so excited to make this video. We're talking about how I left education. So let's get started. The first thing that you want to do, or that I did, is that I did my research. All right, I can't understate this enough. Research is super important. You want to figure out what it is that you actually want to do, right? There are so many different jobs, so many different titles out there. And so the first thing I did, I just started off with a simple Google search, like what careers are there out there that I would be able to transition into coming from education. And one of the main things that popped up that I realized I had already kind of been doing and also had a lot of transferable skills was project management, right? Now, when I found project management, again, there were a ton of other job titles, other jobs out there that I never even heard of, such as a product manager or a scrum master. And so there are a lot of different things out there. Make sure that you really do your research, figure out what it is that you actually want to do, and then start to pursue that. Now, one of the things I will tell you, and this is just kind of a word of advice, but also a warning, right? If you are simply trying to transition over to project management because you heard, oh, you know, you can get a six-figure job and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, you know, being a project manager and, you know, they make way more than I make in education, that may not necessarily be the case. I will tell you that I repeat, do not currently have a six-figure job. And granted, I'm also a successful entrepreneur. So, you know, take that how you take that. But my job in healthcare project management, I don't have a six-figure job. And so if you are trying to transition, trying to make a big pivot over just for the money, you may be a little bit disappointed. Okay. But I transitioned, of course, into healthcare. And I didn't know I was going to transition into healthcare at first. I saw a lot of other jobs out there, you know, as it related to construction, finance. There's a lot of project management jobs in different industries. And so, again, you want to just make sure that you do your research because all of those different jobs come with different amounts of money attached to them, but also they come with different qualifications, which brings me to point number 2. The second thing that you want to do as it relates to pivoting from education to project management, corporate, whatever it is that you want to do, is that you want to do more research. Now, I know you're thinking like, oh, you just said research. Yes, you did research on what it is you wanted to do. Now you got to do research on what it is that they require of you in the field or in the career that you want to have. And so how does that work? Well, let's say that I decide that I want to be a construction manager, project manager. I may find out in that that they require essentially a lot of construction experience that I don't have based on me coming from the classroom. So I may have to switch that up a little bit, right? And as it relates to other project management jobs or other corporate jobs, again, you have to figure out what it is that they want from you. Now, one of the things that I saw, and this is very, very tricky. One of the things I saw is that you do not need a certification to become a project manager. That is true. You do not need a certification to become a project manager. However, if you want to get a job in the United States, there are 3 modern ways to get a job in the United States. One is that you can call it nepotism, you can call it a referral, you can call it a hookup. Essentially, you know somebody that may even know somebody that's able to give you a job or refer you to a job, right? And so with that, you want to make sure that you are, utilizing your network, utilizing your resources. I can tell you that I didn't have that at all. And so, granted, I had a network of people that definitely helped me, but nobody was able to just give me a job. So that's number one. If you got that, great, cool, boom, you good. Second way is experience. You want to have a good amount of experience in whatever field you are trying to transition into. Now, that becomes tricky for educators trying to transition into another field, because some of you may have came from that field, but many of you may not, like me. I didn't have a lot of experience. And so your transition, your pivot is going to be complex. Well, it's going to be complex based off of just who you are and where you are in life, right? If you are 23 and you've only been like teaching for a couple years and you just decided, hey, education isn't for me, I want to go ahead and do something different, then cool. You can probably, if you don't have, a family yet, a mortgage, all of these things, you just haven't really been bogged down by life yet. That sounds bad, but whatever. You get what I mean? You can probably pivot a little bit easier versus someone like me, 30 plus, kind of has a life established already. It becomes a little bit more complicated. So, a more traditional route to project management, with or without a certification, is you start off with, as a assistant project manager or a project coordinator, all of the titles that essentially mean the same thing. And then you kind of work your way up to becoming a project manager. If you're 30 plus, that's a little bit harder to do. If you got, 5 kids, whatever, kids in college, yada, 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 it's a little bit harder to do, depending on just the normal circumstances, right? So if you can't do that, if you don't have the hookup, if you don't have somebody that's able to just give you a job, if you don't have a ton of experience, because again, kind of looking back at my journey, did I have experience in project management? Yes. And I'll talk about that in a later video. But did I have experience in healthcare project management? No, I did not. I had 0 experience. And so if I don't have the experience, if I don't have somebody who's able to give me a job, how did I transition? Well, the third way to get a job in the United States to supplement all of that is through education, through certifications. Go out and get the education that you need. Go out and get the certifications that you need in order to get the job that you want to get, right? So the next thing following the research that I did was I went out and I got my certification. The certificate that I got is the PMP. If you're not familiar with what the PMP is the Project Management Professional Certification, and it essentially is the gold standard project management certification from PMI. Now, there are other project management certifications out there. I can tell you, I think Google has one, something like that, but nothing really compares to PMI's PMP certification. Like I said, it's the gold standard. It's recognized all throughout the world. And essentially, just like any other degree or any other certification, it says to companies that you know your stuff. Now, are there going to be other companies out there that truly, desire the experience over, just the formal education? Absolutely. But you want to make sure that you go out and get your certification. Now, what I can tell you, and I'll go through this in another video as well, the certification is not easy to get. And so it takes some time, you know, and that's why I say start off with your research. You pivoting, no matter what age or where you are in life, you pivoting is a major decision. And so you want to make sure that you're making the right decision for yourself, for your family, but also understanding that it is going to be a true investment of your time, a true investment of your finances. And so if you're making that investment, you want to make sure that you actually really want to do it, because despite what you may see online on these YouTube videos, I can tell you that PMP test is hard. It is hard. It's not easy. So with that in mind, I went out, got my certification, and then from there, the rest was history. I just started to apply for jobs that were kind of in the industry that I was kind of leading towards. I did continue to apply for some education jobs, but I truly felt that, you know, God was kind of pulling me out of education. And so, you know, ultimately I ended up with a healthcare project management job. And, you know, I love it. And so, you know, again, guys, I'm not recruiting, but for those of you that, you know, are kind of like me, that have just kind of realized, you know, your time in education may be up, and you want to do something different, whether that's project management or something else, make sure that you do your research, do more research, and then start to get to it. You know, if you don't like it, obviously you can always go back to education, but, you know, start to pursue that thing that you're passionate in, but make sure that you're truly passionate in it, because it is something that is going to be time consuming and difficult. So hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully you learned something. Of course, I'm going to have much more content, many more videos, plenty of videos coming your way. So continue to follow, like, share, subscribe, all of the things. It's Graylin. Appreciate you guys. Till next time. Peace.
As always, we want to say thank you guys so much for watching this episode of EDU to PMP. As a side note, if you're getting married in Texas and you want to have the best DJs for your wedding, make sure that you hit up Chosen Event Group. Last but not least, please don't forget to like, share, and comment under this video. And if you really want to support the channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I wish you all the absolute best on all your future endeavors. And until next time, peace.